National Heart Month, and tonight one of our own is sharing his story after receiving a surprising diagnosis of heart disease and then undergoing open heart surgery.
He'll also share important information that will help you determine if you need to get checked out. It's information that could save your life. Here is anchor John O'Connor with the story you'll see only on 12.
70 times a minute, 100,000 times a day, 35 million times a year, and you probably never give it a second thought until.
We would consider that a 99% blockage.
I mean, you were hanging on by a thread, my friend.
Hanging on by a thread. That's what I was told the day after I went into the ER at Jackson Hospital with a sensation in my upper left chest and some numbness down this left arm. I ended up having sextuple bypass surgery. I'm in my late 50s, I'm not overweight, I've got a decent diet, and I exercise. If that can happen to me, that can happen to anyone. We've heard it many times. Heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the U.S. According to the CDC, Alabama has the 6th highest rate of heart disease in the country. I was lucky. I was a major heart attack waiting to happen. And I'm hoping the information in this story will help someone else be lucky too, avoid having a heart attack or increase their odds of surviving one. So what do? Let's start with the basics, keeping some critical risk factors under control.
High blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, those are pretty much genetically determined. And those do put you at increased risk. And of course, if you do not treat those conditions, you're more likely to have heart problems down the road.
Not ignoring symptoms of heart trouble is also critical. But symptoms don't always present themselves in the same way.
Men tend to have more of the classic symptoms. Women may have a little more atypical symptoms. Sometimes the pain may go to the right arm. Or for women, it tends to be more emotionally related.
Yes, I do.
Sandy Johnson had been going to the doctor for over a year, telling them that something wasn't right. And she has a family history of heart disease.
Every time I had gone to the doctor, they did an EKG, and my EKG was always perfect. My cholesterol was never high. I never had your classic, everything that you would think would be associated with heart problems. I just wasn't having those issues.
Sandy was diagnosed with acid reflux and then vertigo before she ultimately started to experience chest pain, dizziness, and cold sweats. She ended up having triple bypass surgery, and she has this advice for women.
Be proactive with your health. Also, find a doctor who will listen to you and not just rely on the test results.
There is no classic person. A large part of coronary artery disease is inherited. You can't pick your parents.
Dr. Stephen Kwan is the heart surgeon at Jackson Hospital. He believes there's a subtle symptom of heart trouble that is often ignored.
I think what is more important sign that people sometimes ignore is fatigue and shortness of breath. Some people feel like they're just wearing down. They feel really tired by the afternoon. They take a nap and they think they're just getting older or they're out of shape.
Dr. Kwan says if you're approaching 50 and you have even a couple of the risk factors, you need to be checked out.
It's a simple workup for heart disease now. We have all sorts of tests to discover it early, and if it's discovered earlier, then it's a simpler fix.
Timing is everything when it comes to avoiding a heart attack or certainly surviving one. If you have any of the risk factors or are experiencing any of the symptoms, why take the chance? We have some additional information for you with this story on WSFA.com. You'll find a link to some surprising symptoms of heart disease. Also a link to a special diet from the Cleveland Clinic that Sandy Johnson, who you just met in the story, is now following. Also, this Thursday, Jackson Hospital is sponsoring a heart health screening and seminar. It's just $5, but you do need to pre-register, and if you'd like to do that, the number to call is 334-293-8805.
Good information. John, all of us in the newsroom have been following this health scare, and a lot of people at home as well. So let everybody know, how are you doing right now?
You know, I'm doing great. A couple of weeks ago, I'm 3 months out of surgery, so I'm back to physically doing pretty much whatever I want to do. I had a meeting with my heart surgeon, who you saw there, Dr. Kwan, a couple of weeks ago, and he cut me loose. I'll be monitored by my cardiologist from here on out, but, you know, I've made a couple of lifestyle changes. I'm paying a lot more attention to my diet these days, and I'm getting a regular exercise routine in place. 2 critical things you really need to do if you want to stave off heart disease.
A learning experience for all of us. John, thanks
a lot.